I know we've all heard it 1,000,001 times, the idea that it's all about energy, everything's energy, but how can I understand this to make it practical and helpful for my life? One way that's extremely helpful to look at this would be to imagine that your self or your higher self basically is at the top, and it starts off by giving 100% of the self down into the cup of your physical body. Let's just say it's the physical body. So, but it has to go through a couple of filters before it gets to the physical. And this is not like 100% right. This is just like a model to help understand, but it's basically true. So the first layer it has to go through, we'll just say it's the mental. We'll say like your soul, ego self is the explosion of energy, and it comes down and now it has to go through the mind. So 100% energy comes down, it hits the mind. Now let's say in your mind you believe lies. Doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what the lie is. Some of them are more detrimental than others. It's like there's some really bad ones like I'm no good, I'm ugly, I'm what or those are real bad ones, right? Or maybe some lies like what? Yeah, I don't even need to get into truther stuff, but you guys know what I mean by now. Okay, so let's say that because you believe lies, 100% of yourself that was going to potentially come down and be here is now filtered out by 20% because of the lies. Okay, so now you only got 80% of that energy coming in. Next level, it has to hit the emotions, the astral. So let's say you've got some emotional problems, baggage. You probably, maybe you don't forgive someone, or I don't even need to go into it. There's anger, like addictions, shame, emotions. There's some emotions going on, right? That are like less than desirable. Okay, so now let's say it's another 20%. Now you've only got 60% coming in. You started off with 100, but then it had to go through the mind, and the lies kind of filtered out some. And then it got to the emotions, and then your wrong emotions, your unforgiveness filtered out even more. And now it's got to go down into the subtle energy, into the etheric, where now it's really starting to get physical. Now we're talking. Let's say you've got some problems in the flow of your body, You've got some blockages, your spine's not right, you are around a lot of like EMF, or you're in a city and been a bunch of squares, you're not around enough trees, you name it, whatever in your environment, like that subtle energy that's screwing with you. Okay, now you've only got 40% because another 20%. This is just hypothetical, of course. Now, get to the physical body. After you finally go through subtle energy, get to the physical body. Okay, you've got parasites, your liver's all clogged up, you're drunk sometimes, you're addicted, you're fat, you don't have any muscle, like you can't move anything, whatever it is. So you just filtered out 20%. So now it's like, what? You've got like 20% of that 100% that you potentially were going to get from the beginning because you believe lies, your emotions is wrong, subtle energy is wrong, physical body's unhealthy. Okay, so you guys understand. It's very easy to understand, but this is a practical way to understand it. So now that means it's your job to go through in your own time and fix and clear these levels over time. And this has been something that's very, very helpful for me. A couple years ago, I found an old picture of myself from when I was in the Air Force. Swear to God, it looked like I was a dead body. I was like alive, but it was like hypothetically, it's like 1% of my soul's coming in, like my eyes, there's like bags, I'm like really pale, and there's no like energy there. And you compare that with a picture from me like 10 years ago. Now it's like night and day. There's energy, there's, it's dynamic. So it's all about energy. And the best way to navigate a lot of times, and this has been helpful for me, is always asking yourself, like, okay, am I gonna gain energy from that, or am I gonna like feel drained from that? And if you simply go through your life all the time, and this is like basic shit, but it's helpful sometimes to be reminded, you know, oh, that friend that invites you out, okay, well, do you feel more energized from your interaction, or do you feel drained? I've had both. I have friends that were, when we interact, I feel pumped, I feel excited, I got energy from them. And then there's other people where I like dread, I don't want to be around them because I feel drained after I'm around them. And if you have just impeccability in that, in all of your choices over time, I mean, you can't do all of your choices, you know, at first. You just got to work with what you can. And you can do it in all situations too. Do I want to go on a run out in the sun, or do I want to go sit in a cafe? Maybe sitting in a cafe will give you energy. You know, maybe you're really tired, you know, you need to rest, you know, so it's all situational. So if you always focus on what's going to yield you the most energy, and that's, you know, and by the way, it always is going to be in integrity. It's never going to be like something out of integrity. You may be deceived because of your own, like, lying to yourself, but ultimately it's always going to correlate. Just like my favorite Manly P. Hall quote of all time. It just so happens that the law of energy is also the law of integrity. So follow the law of integrity, follow the law of energy. They almost sound the same. And try to think about try to visualize that in your energy coming in. If you're fatigued, if you don't have patience for your children, if you don't have enough energy for your work, or whatever it is, you know, be honest and see, like, okay, what lies is taking my energy? What emotions are taking my energy? What's going on in my subtle energy? Like, do I live next to a 5G? What's wrong with my body? Do I need to do a cleanse? You know, and in no time, things are going to shift around real quick. Have a blessed day.